Welcome to Canva Fundamentals. In this session, we're going to learn to create an account. We're going to learn how to get started from the home screen. We'll then look at the Canva Workspace, learn about the toolbars, and your workspace essentials. So let's get started. I'm on the home page of Canva, and when you come to the home page, you might get a notice about cookies. You can just say accept all cookies or manage all cookies. I'm going to click on accept all cookies. Now at the top, you'll notice a login button and a sign up. So if you have never signed up for Canva, you can click on the sign up button. You have the option to log in or sign up with Google, Facebook, or just to continue with an email and then choose your password. Now I've already set up my account with Google, so I'm just going to continue with email just to show you what the sign up process is. And I'll just type in an email that I have and I'll select continue. It'll ask you to put in your name. And then it'll ask you to send the code to finish signing up your account. So you'll have to go to your email to collect that code to put it into this space here. And I'll just type in the code that I received. It'll go through a few questions about why you want to use Canva. Just choose the best option for you. I'm going to select personal. And now there's an option here to try Canva Pro for free. So you can either say maybe later, or you can start your free trial now. I'll just say maybe later. Now I'll also give you options on what type of communications you want to receive. And you have the option at the bottom to say opt me in or not now. I'll select opt me in because I want to know about recommendations, design school, what's new, achievements and milestones, and design challenges. And then we get these confetti saying congratulations, you've set up your account. So once you've set up your account, you're going to be forwarded to the Canva home screen. And you'll notice some buttons on the left side. You'll have your home button, you'll have projects, templates, brand, and apps. And that's where all of the Canva apps reside. I'm going to get more into this later on. You'll also note some notifications here, getting started with Canva, learning the basics, craft presentations, and so on. And once you start designing in Canva, you can star some of your designs and you'll see your most recent designs here. In the middle of the screen, you're going to have a search bar where if you want to search for something like flyers, you could enter that into the search bar and you can search either Canva templates or all of your content. I'll search for Canva templates and press enter. Now, searching for templated designs can become very overwhelming. We have all these options here to create a flyer. I normally create my designs from scratch, but there's nothing wrong with starting with a template. However, I suggest you don't start with a template until you know exactly how to navigate Canva, because it might be frustrating for you moving through all the layers. So start off with a blank design, build your design, understand how to navigate through layers, and then you can use templates later. That's my recommendation. Now to get out of this screen, the best option is to just press the home screen, and that will take you back home. Now, if you know what kind of a design you're going to be creating, whether it's a document, whether you want to use a whiteboard, a presentation, or so on, there are these options here. And most of these options do the same thing, except with some variation. So for example, with documents, you cannot layer elements one on top of another. So there is that restriction there. With whiteboards, you can't really design in a whiteboard. It's more for collaborating thoughts with teams. And then presentations and videos usually have videos and animations in them. And then we have social media designs, which are your Facebook posts, your TikToks, your Instagrams, all of that. From time to time, you may not be able to use one of these designs. And when I say designs or refer to designs, it's pretty much a set height and width with a few different options. So if you know the size of your design and it's not located in any one of these areas, you can always create a custom design. So for example, if you're creating a t-shirt and that the size of your design is going to be 8 by 10 or 8 by 11, you can come into custom size and you can key in the width and the height in here. Now on the right side, you're also going to get an area for units. Unlike Microsoft Word or other software, you cannot set a default units of measurement. You have to set it every time you create one of your designs. And when you click on the down arrow, you have the option between pixels, inches, millimeters, and centimeters. So I'm going to choose inches, and then I'm going to come into the width and type in 10. And then for the height, I'm going to type in 8. Now, if you've used these measurements before, they will appear down here. And if you notice on the left side, you'll also get the same menu we got on the home screen if you were looking for another type of design. So for example, if we go to social media, we'll get all these different designs that are pre-made measurements. You notice as I'm hovering over those designs, we'll get the measurement right there. Now I'll go back to custom, which was right here, and I'll press the purple button to create my new design. Once I do this, I'm going to get my workspace with that measurement. And I'm just going to select to skip the tour. Now, once my Canva opens up, I'm going to have my workspace where I can start to design. And you might have this panel here on the left side that'll pop up to help you with selecting a template. But as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to start off with a blank design. To close that panel, just click on your workspace and it will close automatically. Now you'll notice on your workspace that you're going to have a gray area all the way around your workspace. This is unusable space. If you slide any of your elements into this gray area, literally it's going to go into nowhere land. You'll lose it. To recover it, just press the undo button and you'll get it back on your screen. Now, around the workspace, you're going to notice a few buttons. I'm going to add another page. And I'll just go back to the top so that we can see all the different icons that surround our workspace. So at the top, we see that it is page 1. We can add a title here, and I'll just say home in there. Adding a title will come in handy if you're linking or creating links to different pages, like hyperlinking. If we come to the right side, we'll be able to move this page down or up as the case may be. There's an option to hide the page just in case you want to download only one of the pages that I have here instead of all of the pages. If I had a design here, there would be the option to duplicate this page exactly. I can garbage can a page, and I can just add a new page. Adding a new page is just adding a blank page versus duplicating a page. So let's take a look at what that looks like when we duplicate a page. I'll just add this design to my workspace, and I'll click Duplicate Page. And that's exactly what it does. It duplicates the same page versus if I add a new page, it's just going to add a new page, maintaining that background color that I had in my first page. Now you'll also notice a floating menu up top. This is the toolbar, and this toolbar used to be fixed right here in the old Canva. Now it's just floating up top as opposed to being fixed at the top of Canva. Now, one thing to note about the toolbar is that it will change depending on what element you have selected on your workspace. Currently, I have this page selected, and these are the options that come up. If I come back to my first page and I select this circle, my toolbar is going to change to reflect what different things I can do with that frame. I'm going to return to the floating toolbar in just a while. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to delete this page, and this page, and this page, and I'll be left with a blank design. At the bottom, you'll notice that I also have an Add Page button where I can just add pages. And at the bottom of my workspace, I have an area to add notes. This comes in handy if I'm doing a presentation. I can refer to my notes, or I can just write my thoughts on what I want to design. When you're done, you can just close it and continue designing. And you'll note that the notes are specific to a page. So I'll just close this for now. If we navigate over to the right side, it tells you what page you're on, and you can actually skip to a page by clicking the page number in there. So now I'm back to page 1. This slider here allows you to zoom in or zoom out. And you can do a quick zoom or a custom zoom by clicking on the percentage and selecting any one of these options. On the side, we'll also have thumbnail view. And what that does is it shows all of your designs in a thumbnail version, so you can quickly navigate to the slide or design that you want to work on. And there's also the option to add a page. So I can turn that off and I'll go back to scroll view. But beside that is grid view. And that allows us to have a preview of all of our designs on a page. Now we're very limited as to what we can do here. The floating menu, again, will tell us what our options are on this specific screen. We can move things around, we can add pages, but that's pretty much it. There's nothing else we can do. We can't actually design from this page. I'm going to close grid view and go back. Now this double-ended arrow allows us to present in full screen mode when we select it. So when I select that, this is what I get, and I can navigate from one page to another from the bottom here. And there are some other options here too that we will get into much later. And you'll also notice that I have a little blue bubble where my cursor is, because when you're in presentation mode, anyone who is viewing your presentation can see where you're at when you move your cursor. So I'll just press the escape button and I'll go back to my design. Let's go back up to the top to the menu bar. This is the menu bar. Now, this button with 3 lines allows us to go back to the home screen. So when we click this, we'll be able to preview the home screen and view any options that we need to. If we click it again, we'll go back to our home screen where we were before we even started. Now you'll notice that the design that I was working in is right here. I'll just double click that to go back. And to open it, I'm going to click on this arrow to open it up in a new window, maintaining my home screen here. So when I click it, I've still got this home screen here that I can navigate in, and I've got my open design here. I'm going to close this and close that too. So we're back to our design that we were working on previously. Let's go back up top to our menu bar. Next to the home button, or it says open menu, we have a file button. In the file button, we can name our design, or we can see what our design is called. Now, we can also name our design from this area as well. I'm going to go ahead and name this design Session 1. And below the name of our design, we'll see who created this design and the dimensions of the design in the units of measurement that it was created. We also notice that next to our design name, we'll have a pencil. So you can just quickly click in there and change the name if you wanted to. You can also change the name from here as well. So I can change the name to 1A if I wanted to, and that will change it here as well. As part of this file menu, we also have the option to create a new design. If you click this, it will open up a new window with a new workspace for you to design something new. We have the option to import files. To import files, you can just come here and choose the files that you want to import. At the bottom, when you hover over images, videos, and files, it will tell you the types of documents you can import, which are compatible with Canva. So if it's not compatible with Canva, you won't be able to upload it in this area or within Canva. Let's go back to the file menu. Underneath import files, we have settings. In settings, we have the options to show rulers and guides. These are our rulers and guides right here. And they're helpful for us to be able to move elements around and know exactly where they're going to be placed on our page. I'll go back into the file menu and back to settings. We can also add guides. What are guides? Guides help us to place elements at certain positions. So for example, if I wanted a 3x3 grid, I could then take some elements and move them into each of these areas, spacing them evenly in those 9 quadrants. Now, if none of these preset grids are applicable to you, you can also create your own custom grid. And you can have 3 columns and 3 rows, and you don't have to have a gap. You can actually eliminate the gap and set it to 0 so that there's no gap at all. So you'll notice there is no gap. Don't forget though to click that purple button to add guides. Okay, so now they are added and they are locked. So let's go back to the file menu. Let's go back to settings. We notice here that we added guides. We can also clear the guides. We note that the guides are locked. Why is that important? Let's unlock the guides. What happens is if the guides aren't locked, you could mistakenly move them, and you don't want to do that. If you have guides, you want to make sure that they're fixed on the workspace so that when you're moving other elements, you're not moving the guides by accident. So let's go back to settings and we're going to lock our guides again. Now, the other thing that I want to show you is you can actually add more guides right from this area here. If you click in here and you drag down, you can actually add more guides to help you design. And these guides will also be locked as well. Let's go back to the file menu, to settings. And so our guides are locked again. We also have the option to show margins. And these are our margins. Now we can't see the one here because it's covered by our guide. Let's just zoom in a little bit so that you can see that there is a fine line there. And let me get rid of that guide so that you can actually see it better. So I'm just going to unlock the guide and I'm going to move that down. So there is that guide right there. So these are the margins. Even though the margins are reflected on our design, we can still place elements beyond our margin. It doesn't stop us or prevent us from placing elements to the left of our margin or to the right of our margin. They're just there for us to look at visually. Let's go back to our file menu. And so we're now showing margins. I'm going to turn that off. We also have the option to show print bleed. The Canva print bleed is 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so just remember that when you're designing. So it shows you the print bleed with that dotted line going all the way around. So if you are printing a background, make sure your background extends to this bleed to prevent white gaps. Okay, let's go back to the file menu and back to settings. I'm going to remove the print bleed, and so there's an option to hide comments. Now we can add comments to our design. Comments help us to collaborate with other people. So this is an option to hide comments if there were comments on this design. We also have an option for video playback quality. Right now it's set to auto, but you can set it to low, medium, or high. And we also have an option to check design accessibility. That's for people who are accessibility challenged. Maybe they're vision impaired or they have some sort of disability that you might not have thought of. And so Canva helps you to check the accessibility of your design so that it is more accessible to more people. And we also have the option to select the language that we want to work in. So you can click language and you can select the language from the drop-down. I'm just going to go back and just go back to settings. I believe we've gone through all of these different options. So I'll just move on to save. Now, Canva saves automatically, but you can come here and you can click the save. Where does your design go when it's saved? It goes in the Canva cloud. You cannot save your designs on your computer. That's just not possible. It's saved in the Canva cloud. We know the design is saved when there is a check mark in the cloud. we also see the check mark here. So you don't have to go to the File menu to save your design. It's saved automatically, and we'll see that here. If you see 3 dots, that means Canva is still thinking, is still saving. We also have the option to move our design to a specific folder. Now, if you're not a Canva Pro user, I believe you are limited to the number of folders that you can create. Maybe you can create 1 or 2. If you're a Canva Pro user, you can create an unlimited number of folders. And creating folders is helpful because you get to group your designs. Specifically, if you're working for different clients, you can create a folder for each client and just place all of your designs in that folder for your client. We also have the option to make a copy of our design. That would come in handy if you want to use that design, but there's something that you want to change about it to use for something else. So you can quickly just make a copy of the design and then maintain your original design that you had created in the first place. We also have the option to download our design and share it. Downloading it here and downloading it here is the same thing. We'll go over sharing options later on. With Canva Pro, you also have the option to go back to a different version. This is super helpful, but it is a pro feature and I can't show you that right now from this account. So let me just switch to my other account and I'll be right back. With version history, it is an amazing feature, but version history is only available with Canva Pro. Now I've opened up my Pro account in order to show you this feature. And when you click on version history, what you're going to get is the different times that you saved your design, so that if you want to go back to a certain point in time where you had made certain changes, but then you changed your design again and you didn't like it and you want to go back, you have the option because it shows you different times that the item was saved. So you can just go back to a point in time and you can restore a version going far back. And this is really, really helpful just in case you made a change that really you didn't like. So I'm not going to restore this version. I'm just going to close this and carry on. I do highly recommend Canva Pro for this feature alone. Underneath version history, we have the option to find and replace. So if you are wanting to replace a certain word, like maybe 2024 to 2025, you can do that here. You can find 2024 and then replace it with 2025. So that is a great feature. Now, Canva also has a desktop app, but quite honestly, the desktop app doesn't do anything more than the web version. I do not recommend downloading the desktop app. Just use the web version. And if you want to suggest an improvement, Canva has put the suggest improvement option in the file menu for you to go ahead and make suggestions that you'd like Canva to make. Now moving on, next to the file menu is resize and magic switch. Now this is a pro feature, and this is another feature that I absolutely adore. I would recommend Canva Pro for this as well as the version history option on the file menu. So with resize and magic switch, we are able to translate text. So if I had text on my workspace, I could translate it to a different language, and I can apply it to only this page, or I can apply it to all of my pages. Now we also have the option to transform this document or this design into an actual document. Again, though, Canva documents are very limited. You can't really layer elements one on top of another. They just flow from one to the other, down or up, but not layered one on top of another like actual Canva design. So I do not recommend Canva documents unless you're creating a resume or something that's just plain document related. Now here are the meats and potatoes of resize and magic switch. We can take this design and we can resize it. We are able to resize it to one of these designs that were used previously. We can resize it to a custom design, and then we just can key in the different measurements and click continue. Or we can resize the design to any one of these options here. So let's go ahead and let's resize this specific design to an Instagram post. Now, if you're choosing more than one, then it will resize it in both of those options. But we're only going to do one. We're going to resize this design in an Instagram post square. So I'll come here and I'll click on continue. And it's going to show me a preview of what that design is going to look like in an Instagram post. And you can navigate through the different pages to see what it will look like before you actually say copy and resize or resize this design. What's the difference between the two? Well, copy and resize is going to maintain your original design. So that's this design. And then it'll open up the resize in a new window. Or you have the option to just resize this design and it will override it. So it will eliminate your original. So let's click on copy and resize. And now we have the option to open that Instagram post, and it opens in a new window. Now, the other great feature about Magic Resize and Magic Switch is that if you have started a project with the wrong units of measurements, you can use Resize and Magic Switch to switch over to the units of measurements that you like. Let me show you. Let's go over to File, and let's just turn our rulers on. So you'll notice that they are in pixels right now. If I go to Resize and Magic Switch, and let's say that I want to resize it to reflect inches, you could come to Custom Size, and you'll notice in the custom size there is a width and a height, and there's also a units of measurement. And so we can just click in there and choose whatever units of measurements we want to use in our new design when we are converting it. So I'm going to choose inches for this. And I'll press the lock button just to lock that aspect ratio. And I'll just say yes. I'll come down here and I'll say continue. And now I'm going to say resize the design. So I'll click on my workspace and I'll go back to File, Settings, and Show Rulers and Guides. And let's take a look now. Now we can see that our units of measurement are in inches as opposed to pixels. So that is how Magic Resize works. Now, next to Resize and Magic Switch, we have this little drop-down window, and I'm going to be really honest with you. This really doesn't do much except for you can set your screen to edit mode. So right now we can edit. You can set it to just commenting, where you'll get this pop-up to add a comment if you want to, like this is a nice design. And that will just save it on the design for whoever you're collaborating with to see with your initial. So that's what setting the workspace to commenting does. So you can't really change anything because everything is locked. You're not in editing mode. And the last option is view only, meaning you can't comment and you can't view. Now, you may get this option when someone sends you a template link or a view only link telling you that, hey, it's only view only. I'm going to set this back to editing mode, back to normal, so that we can continue looking at the menu bar. Now, there's also the option to undo and redo. These are two of my favorite buttons because you get to undo your mistakes. And if you want to redo it, you can also redo it. And again, here's that cloud that tells you everything is saved right here. Now, if we move along to the right side, we'll see the name of the design, which you can change. We'll see your account, and if you have a photo uploaded, you'll see a photo in there. If there's more than one person in the design that you're collaborating with, you'll see that initial here as well. And that will tell you that there's more than one person in the design. Next to your profile, you're going to see the people who have access to your design. If you needed to search, you could search, or you can add names. So you can send this link to people just by clicking in this box, adding their name or adding the group. If we click on the button here, this is insights, it's analytics on your design, who has engaged with your design, whether there are you've created any unique links, and if you have shared your design on social media, it'll also show you analytics. Now, I'm kind of jumping the gun showing you this because I haven't really showed you how to share this yet, how to share the link with other people. So you're not going to see anything in here at all. Like, you're not going to see views, engagement, unique links, unless you've shared a Canva template link. And how do we share a Canva template link? You go to share here, and over here we have the option to create a template link. But if you don't see that, just click more and you would create a template link. Now, there are different types of links, so please be careful. A public view link does not allow someone to make changes, to edit, or to make comments. It's only a view link. They don't even have to log into Canva. It's kind of like a mini website of your design. So when you provide a public view link, they're just seeing the design as if you were presenting it. A Canva template link, when you provide a template link to someone, they get a copy of the template, which remains in their files to update, but they cannot edit your original template link. It stays with you. Now, the reason why I'm saying be very careful is because if we go back, there's also an option to provide a collaboration link. And a collaboration link is different than a preview link or a template link. A collaboration link is exactly that. When you provide a collaboration link to someone, that means that they can modify your original design. So please be careful when you're creating collaboration links. If you're creating digital products, you do not want to provide someone with a collaboration link. When you provide a collaboration link, you have these options here. Only you can access, anyone with a link can access. And when you say anyone with a link, then on the side, you can determine, can they view, can they comment, can they edit. And then once you're done configuring that collaboration link, you can copy the link and send it to them. Now, any one of these links, you'll be able to see analytics on those links. Okay. Now, next to analytics, there's also the commenting button, and that will show you all of the comments that are on your design, either by current page, by all, for you, unread, resolved, what have you. Okay, so that's what that comment button does. I had mentioned earlier that you cannot save your Canva files to your computer, and that is the truth. They save in the clouds. So you might be asking yourself, what do you do with the file or the project once you're done with it? And the answer to that is this share button. Just like we share a template link, the way you get that file onto your computer or download it onto your computer is by going into the share button and downloading it. So when we click the share button, we'll have a whole bunch of different options that we can share this template with, or this project, or this design. You'll find the options here. You can download it onto your computer. You can share it on social right from Canva. You can print your design with different printing options right from Canva. And there's also a more button with a whole bunch of other sharing options that you have. Let's go back for a second and let's look at all these options. And in here, you'll see items or shortcuts that you've recently used. But if we go to the download button and select it, the suggested format from Canva is a PNG format for downloading. And if you have Canva Pro, you can also download that file as a transparent background. You can compress it, and underneath there'll be an area for you to select the pages that you want to download. You can download one page, multiple pages, or you can download all of the pages at once. Just note that if you do download all of the pages or multiple pages, they will end up on your computer in a zip folder. There is no way around that. And then you can just go to your computer and you can unzip that file and get access to all of the pages in that folder. When you're done selecting your settings, you can press the download button. Now for file types, there are a whole bunch of different options. There's JPEG, there's PDF. Of course, we saw PNG. We also have PDF print, that's best for printing. We have SVG. Now, SVG is also a Canva Pro feature. And by the way, Canva cannot convert images or GIFs to SVG. This SVG option only works for elements that are in your design that are already SVG elements. It will maintain that file format when downloading if you choose SVG. We also have the option to download as a MP4 video, and we also have the option to download as a GIF. Now, if we go back and move on to how to download for sharing on social, you'll have to connect your social media accounts with Canva in order to share on any of these platforms. So just set up your account and then you can post directly from Canva. Going back, there's also the option to print with Canva. Now, when I say print from Canva, I mean choose one of these printing options, which are third-party services that are registered with Canva to print your designs. They are printing shops, so you can't actually print directly from Canva to your local printer. So if you wanted to print this on envelopes or in a bound document, you have all of these options. You can just go through the customization and then send it to print with Canva. I have printed some items with Canva and they have turned out really, really well. Let's go back. And then again, you can select the more and you can scroll through all of these different options that are available to use with Canva. And if you can't find something, there's also the search bar. You can just search for something. Note, most importantly, that from within Canva, you cannot print. It is impossible to print on your local printer directly from Canva. You need to download that design and then you need to open it up into a different application like Adobe or a local program on your computer like Windows Paint and print from there. Now, the one thing that I want you to note is that every item that you select will have its own customized toolbar. Now, I know I've said this over and over again, but I can't say this enough because a lot of people get confused by thinking that once you have a toolbar, you're able to do the same things with different elements. For example, I've selected this strawberry here. This is the toolbar that comes up with this strawberry element that I have selected. Now, these are elements that are layered one on top of another. So that is only one element. There's another element here, and you see the toolbar has changed. And what I want for you to take specific note of is that the background, when I select the background, it also has a toolbar that is associated with it. So we have different options that are available for the background as well. Now we'll be going through what these options do in one way or another throughout this series. Now, before we move on, there's one more menu I want to introduce you to. You'll notice that I have this element selected, and you'll notice that there is this floating toolbar. And some of these options kind of repeat or will repeat, and some of them don't. But I just wanted to mention that we also have another menu here. I'm going to get more into this menu later on. And again, this floating menu is going to change depending on what's selected. So that is just about all there is to know about signing up with Canva, the home screen, your workspace, and the Canva menu bar. In the next session, we're going to learn all about the sidebar and making the most out of the Canva sidebar.